Can you speak to the Tesla interview process and experience a little bit? What that was like? How many interviews? What type of questions were?
Absolutely. So, first internship was with Tesla. Yep, that was over spring in Palo Alto, California. Beautiful place, by the way. So, Tesla internships usually, at least this is again from my knowledge, my friends who have interviewed with Tesla, to the best possible extent that I know, I've seen people have either one round for internships or at best two. In
Really?
my internship, I had about 5 rounds.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's
Why?
5 rounds. I think it's for the team that I was joining. I think it's one of the high rigor demanding teams. So I think they just want the candidate to also pass through multiple different layers. So I remember
Hmm.
the first is where the recruiter sort of screens you. That's basic questions that you gotta
Right.
answer
Yeah.
in
Why
terms
do
of
you
your
want to work
availability.
here?
Yeah, super basic, wherein they also want to check things off in terms of, oh, okay, what's your background, does it really map or not, so things like
Mhm.
that. That was the first round. The second round was, I think all of the rounds were very mixed in terms of behavioral and technical. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to sit and ask you all hardware questions, or oh, we're going to sit and ask you all behavioral. That's not how it was. It was very
What
intertwined
team
in
was
nature.
this? Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked as an engineering program manager. It's called EPM, which is slightly different from TPM. And I worked for their vehicle hardware.
Okay, vehicle hardware. So what were
Yeah.
some of the technical questions like? Were they like hardware oriented?
No, no, I don't think any of those questions were hardware oriented. So after the recruiter screening, I had two more rounds, which were, as I said, very intertwined with behavioral questions, wherein they're trying to drive into your past experiences and trying to see if there are parallels again, if you do have the skill sets to be a program manager. In terms of hardware, I was not asked any single question about, oh, do you know this particular part about a car, or do you know
Mhm.
this particular thing about hardware, right? I think it was more about the way that you think that they really wanted to see. Although the last but one round was about a 45 minute long presentation that I had to do. So I was asked
Hmm.
to pick two of my uh, professional experiences that I'm proud of and present on that. So I picked a couple of experiences from the past that I shed more light upon. And I think you need to, when you're asked to do a presentation, it's more about, oh, are you capable of conveying things clearly? Are you capable of presenting to senior leadership, right? Because as a PM, majority of the times you do end up doing that. So it's a 40 minute long monologue is what it felt like, because I kept talking and talking, and then you're questioned upon those. So that was an hour long last but one round. And prior to that, I had two different rounds, but on the same day. So it was back to back, wherein, again, intertwined, things were intertwined. And the final round was, because Tesla deals with a lot of high infosec stuff, they want to assure that they're hiring somebody that's capable and mature enough to keep their mouth shut wherever required and not leak, any IP related
Mhm.
information. So it's just to sort of assess whether you're mature enough to do that or not for the company. So yeah, these were the 5 different rounds that I had to go through
I
until
see.
I got the final offer.
Makes
Yep.
sense. And maybe you already mentioned this and I missed it, so apologies. But can you give me an example of any of the tech questions that you were asked? So, not if it was not a behavioral question, what's an example of a question that you were asked based on?
Right. I think, like, for example, when I was doing this presentation, couple of follow-ups that I had for that presentation that I did was, oh, can you shed some more light on what were your key process indicators as you were going through this project? Like, what determined the success of this particular project that you're talking about? And with that being,
You keep going.
all right, sorry.
No, no worries.
So it was, yeah, so it was to check the fees, sorry. Yeah, so they wanted to know what the key process indicators were for that particular given scenario, and they wanted to take a deeper dive into it, right? Like, sure. So this is how I would say it, the what to the what, right? Like, sure,
Hmm.
the process saved you X number of man hours, right? But so what? Like, it did save you that. What does that mean for the company, or what does it mean on a much larger scale? So, always having that what to your so what actually helps you take a deeper dive into a given scenario. So that's what they took a real deep dive into that, I remember, to again to try and see if I've thought of it or not, or if I'm being caught off guard, and can I actually tackle something that's very unprecedented and just immediately thrown at